Hey everybody, it's Jeff, your GM and narrator. We're here with another World Lore episode. This one about technology in the world, asked by Riley, the head bunker master at the Friend and Foe Adventure Co. It's a super cool podcast, you should totally go listen to it.
I listened to it, it's great.
And that sneaky voice is here as my longtime friend and co-host, Marshall.
Hey, it's Marshall. I play Keegan and I hang out here on Lore with Jeff.
So, our topic today is technology in the world of the podcast. The podcast takes place in our timeline of events as the 7th of the campaign. And so this is the most kind of Blade Runner, Snow Crash, near future kind of thing. We use Hedron to make hover cars. We have cell phones, energy weapons, ubiquitous computing networks. Cybernetics are fairly commonplace, as well as tech-based teleportation, matter recombinators, advanced armors, kinetic dampeners, just all the fun, made-up, goofy words we all use when we come up with our own homebrew future stuff, right?
Yep.
But don't think that it's too over the top. Like it's, I think as Jesse put it, it's closer to a tech level of 2050 than 2250.
Yeah, it's a lot of it functions the way things do now. They're more advanced builds, basically with crystals and different types of mechanical components. The way things are built.
Yeah, Hedron is the main power source for most in-game tech. Large fusion drives, generators, the Hedron vehicles that powers the cars. HCOMs are Hedron communicators, so they're part of that as well. They are the major source of competition between corporations and kind of the most useful thing that the world has to offer. There are still vehicles that do run with tires and as opposed to hover about, but those are used more for long distance kind of moving objects as opposed to the Hedron vehicles.
We also have the trains, the light rails, and other large commuter type transportation, which are also run with Hedron on the rails.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got our own in-world internet, I suppose, the Constant.
Correct, and the Constant does not activate or need Hedron to function. So that is something that was created quite a while ago when a psionically inclined player using a very powerful and strong artifact used that opportunity to ascend themselves into a plane of information, which we all call and use and refer to as the Constant now. We have a couple different corporations that do create androids. That's Balanced Engineering, Amon Advancements. Androids become kind of a weird case in the middle. They were brought in after the exodus of the Silvermen, which were a construct race that was here before the androids came along, that led towards their creation. With them having left, certain rules were put in place to make sure that androids were not built as slaves. An android consciousness, when created, can choose to take up basically indentured servitude through a contract that a buyer is providing a body for if their consciousness would like to follow along. There is a difference here between androids, clockwork creations, and AIs. They do kind of keep it all fairly separate, but androids do get to remain independently thinking beings, recognized by most organic humanoids as having their own rights and intelligence. Of course, this kind of got hinted at a little bit in the podcast with the members of the Justicari, which are part of the Darmon Empire that do hunt or actively pursue androids. Now, because androids do work through contracts, some cases, like Barry, our wonderful butler that is part of the podcast, is old enough that his contract has since been lost, and since he can't prove that he has it or it does not have access to a copy of it, he functionally has become a servant of the house until they can find a way to get him out of that. It's back to fun technology. I'm trying to think of what else we need to touch on.
Let's see. If we go into like military stuff with the drones and the peakers, like peakers can be set up to do several different types of vision: heat vision, night vision, dark vision.
Yeah, it's actually that's a good place to start in as well. With the constant advancement of technology, so a lot of magic items now can be manufactured quickly and in mass through things like peakers replacing a lot of magic items and magic spells. It has led towards, of course, the decline of magic casting classes. Who wants to grow up to be a wizard if you're just going to cast men's cell phone all day?
Right. That would be a good booth at the mall.
Exactly. That's where we see a lot of our world kind of start to shine through, is in how things constantly are, in how the modification and how these things change, how the world functions. There are less on-planar threats, so weapon-wise, there's a lot of fun weapons left over from corporate wars, but that's not a main focus. Since there is still a lot of planar interaction, though, it does mean that there are still advancements going on for new ships, new items, or things that enable for planar exploration more than anything else.
Like out in the or astral plane.
The Starborn frigate, Amon Enterprises, and things like that are out there trying to harvest material from the planes to bring back for exploitation on the material plane.
One of the pieces of technology we saw recently in the game was the living steel grenade.
We also saw that in episode 5 when they used that on a car on the freeway.
Oh yes, they did. I forgot about that. Well, I wasn't there. As part of technology, there's a lot of different ores and alloys, minerals that are being combined with one another to create new.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. So, like you were touching on the living steel grenades, there are various forms of liquid metal that can be used for these sort of things. We do have a variety of materials. In this last episode with the brewery, the captain of the guard that Keegan was fighting brought up the mage killing bullets, which those are generally created, synthesized from shards of a broken god from the first campaign that was a deity meant to cleanse and destroy planes, a living black hole. So now it is created instead. They use Demosane bullets as a way that absorbs magic and condenses it into a crystalline frozen structure. So it's used to take down wizards, sorcerers, any kind of arcane caster.
And if you remember back to the World Lore episode 4, where we discussed the campaigns, that's the world engine that my character Victor broke.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get that in there.
Fair enough. But yeah, being in a place of pseudo technology means that yes, a lot of the game is going to touch on kind of being able to hack into stuff, or using a lot of skills and abilities that we modern day use. So gives me a lot of opportunities as the GM to create stories in between full high magic or full high technology, and let someone lean out the side of the best friend's ride while shooting a magic missile if need be.
A lot of the things, we touched on it briefly, but a lot of things in this world are, if there was a magic item that could do it before, there's probably a way that it's been made into a piece of technology, whether it's like spider climb gloves that is electromagneting you to a wall or something, or privacy hoods that conceal people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any more things without going into specifics for each item, and maybe that's something we could do as in the podcast as something comes up, whether we just, instead of just throwing out, hey, this is my privacy hood, put that on and we go, explain what the privacy hood does, or what the constant blade looks like, oh, what's a constant blade? And for everybody listening, a constant blade is,
think your energy sword from Smash Brothers, or any kind of energy blade you've seen in pretty much anything.
Yes. So it has the hilt, blade extends from it. It is a beam of pure constant energy.
I think that concludes technology. Of course, if there are specific questions, please ask us in our Discord, yell at us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere. So
yeah, we can definitely give more insight onto what pieces of equipment or technology you have questions about, but I think we'll try and describe things a little bit more as they come up in the podcast.
All right. Well, with that, thanks so much for listening. Hope you're all doing well out there. All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Don't forget to like, review, rate, subscribe, all that stuff. And of course, thanks for listening. Our intro and outro music is by Nihilor. The track's name is Aberration. Alright, bye!